Downtown Dish. I am your host, Katie Schamberger. How are you? How's the week going so far? Sun's out and we have some fun stuff lined up for you this week on the Downtown Dish. We are going to sit down with a returning guest. You may remember Lisa Pena, founder of Urban Hikes Kansas City. She and our very own Streetcar Donna Mandelbaum, Director of Communications for the KC Streetcar, are going to come back and chat with us about the newest addition to the Urban Hikes Kansas City portfolio of adventures. This is the Artful KC Streetcar Urban Hike. And I gotta tell you, if you've got a little cabin fever, if you, like me, are missing travel so much, this really is the solution. I went on the hike, so we have a lot to tell you about the route, what you can expect, highlights, safety practices, and so much more. So stay tuned. We'll be bringing you all of that information from Urban Hikes Kansas City here on the Downtown Dish. Big thanks to our partners this week and every week for helping to make the dish happen at Downtown Council, KC Streetcar, Kansas City Downtown Neighborhood Association, and Linchpin Ideas. All right, and with that, who is ready to go on a hike? On social media and wanted to bring it to your attention here on the Downtown Dish. The wonderful team over at Thelma's Kitchen, which is at 31st and Troost, has this really cool opportunity where you can go to their website, thelmasboxlunch.org, and buy tokens. The wooden tokens are good for a meal there at Thelma's Kitchen, so maybe buy a few, keep them in your pocket, your bag, your car. If you come across someone in need of a meal, simply give them that token. They head over to Thelma's Kitchen there at 31st and Troost. Enjoy a freshly made meal. Plus, while they're there, they can get information about the social services that are available through Thelma's Kitchen. So just a tremendous opportunity. Here's another thing you can do if you don't want to maybe keep the tokens on or near your person. You can go ahead when you buy the tokens there at thelmasboxlunch.org. Just write, there should be a section for special comments, write give out at cafe, and they will keep those tokens on hand so that if someone comes in need of a meal and doesn't have a token, they are still able to make sure they leave with a full belly. So what a cool thing to do, especially right now in the cold. Lots of people in need of a good meal and possibly some help beyond that. So definitely check out thelmasboxlunch.org, buy some tokens, and help some people get a well-deserved meal. Anybody else getting a little cabin fever here in the winter? We have got the solution. There is a new route added to Urban Hikes Kansas City, and here to talk about it today on the Downtown Dish, I am so glad to welcome Lisa Pena, founder of Urban Hikes Kansas City. Hey, Lisa.
Hi. Super excited to be here. Thanks, Katie.
So excited. And coming back to the dish, boy, she's chasing Sue's record really, really close here for most appearances on the show. Donna Mandelbaum, Director of Communications for the Kansas City Streetcar. Donna, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Katie. So good to see you guys.
Good to see you, Dream Team. Okay, Lisa, I want to kick it over to you. So the new route is the Artful KC Streetcar Urban Hike. I'm getting art, I'm getting streetcar. Tell us, what's the new route? Like, what's the gist? What's the scoop?
Yeah, so this route was a route that we created specifically, the KC Streetcar and Urban Hikes Kansas City, and it was to meet the need to have urban hikes in the wintertime and then continue to see art and to highlight the art galleries and boutique hotels that we have in Kansas City. a lot of people asked me in the summertime, so what are you going to do in the wintertime? And I didn't have a clear plan, but when I decided, when I talked with Donna from the Streetcar, she and I came up with this route together. It really integrates art galleries. It integrates 3 art galleries where we spend about 20 to 30 minutes at the art gallery. And in some of them, we get a specific tour from the gallerist there. For example,
cool.
We hear from who is an amazing storyteller and really makes a connection with his audience while he's talking about art.
Mm-hmm.
And in the other as well, we the hikers get to walk around and see all of the art. Then in the boutique hotels, we get to look at the art that they have and learn about the history of the buildings. It's pretty incredible, the history behind so many buildings we have in Kansas City, but specifically the ones that we see on our Artful Casey Streetcar Urban Hike.
I think this is so cool. And I want to kind of point out the difference because you do have other, the other existing routes, and hopefully everybody remembers when we had Lisa on the show back in, I think it was September. Oh my gosh, a lot's happened since then. But those other routes, Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like those are like outside, covering quite a bit of ground. We're seeing art and you're seeing architecture, but you're focused outside, whereas the Artful KC Streetcar route, like you said, is going to be a mix of that walking throughout downtown, but then making those stops inside buildings. Is that kind of the difference there?
Yeah, that's a really good summary. When I started Urban Hikes, we focused on having hikes that were 5 to 6 miles long, where you got a lot of exercise, integrating hills, and learning the history and seeing a lot of artwork. And like you mentioned, predominantly outside, with some exceptions. Go inside local establishments and get a drink like Tropicana or Mildred's for hot coffee. So that was our original. That's what most of our routes are like. But the difference between the Artful hike is that it goes inside, and we really take time to process the artwork inside. It is about 3 miles long, and we don't have any steep hills. However, we do have some staircases, but we have an elevator option for anyone interested.
Okay, awesome. And we're going to talk about that here in a second because, we all have firsthand experience. But I want to bring Donna in because, as Lisa mentioned, Lisa and Donna work together, dynamic duo, to actually create this route from scratch. And Donna, I want to bring you in. The streetcar, of course, plays an integral role. So we can, guests on the hike, participants can get that exposure to some of the art in the loop work that's still up here into the new year. But what was it like making the route? Because my gosh, downtown Kansas City is filled with art. Was it tough to narrow down the stops and the galleries and who would be participating?
Well, it's funny, when Lisa and I first started, we had a giant spreadsheet of all these options, and we had all these great ideas just hitting the spreadsheet. And then when she went on her first test hike with it, I think it was like a 5+ hour long hike. And we're like, I'm not sure people are going to be up for that right now. So there is so much out there. And I think that's what's so cool about Kansas City is you can find art anywhere and everywhere. We have obviously so many alleyways that have turned into reoccurring canvases of different art. We have art in hotels. We have public art everywhere. We have amazing art galleries in the Crossroads District, and all of it is accessible by the streetcar. So just the fact that there is art everywhere is such a cool message that this hike can bring to people.
I love it. Well, and I'm sure people are kind of getting the drift, but so the 3 of us, of course, Lisa as the leader here, that's no surprise, but the 3 of us have all been on the hike We were there for launch weekend, and I gotta say, I want your all's thoughts. I want to know your highlights. I gotta say, it was one of the best things I've done in recent memory. I was a little worried about myself personally and my physical conditioning or lack thereof. But Lisa, like you said, the route's about 3 miles. There is walking, there are some stairs. Those stairs inside Belger, those were. But there's options, and you're mixing kind of in spots with walking. There is a little bit of streetcar riding. So I gotta tell you, when I got done, I mean, I was definitely a little tired from, being outside for a while and just moving around, but I mean, I felt great. So props to you both for making what I thought was a very accessible route.
I think that's a great point, because it is so accessible. And I know that I loved it. And somebody that's been working with Lisa on this, it was so much better than I ever imagined. Even at the start, starting at Crossroads Hotel with Kalanisha Johnson's artwork in there, that was a really wonderful way to start it. And I absolutely love the Belger. I used to work like 2 blocks away from the Belger, had never been in there. That place was such a gem. I'm like, who knew that this karting service has this amazing art collection? It was wonderful. I loved it.
That's got to be my favorite. I mean, it's hard. I love the whole thing, but I was so shocked. So I've lived here in Kansas City since 2004. Obviously, I've made a full-time career writing about Kansas City, doing this show here. Thinking I know pretty much everything there is to know about Kansas City. No, my friends. I had never been inside the Belger, and what a freaking treasure. And Lisa and Donna, I love too that when we were, the hike kind of starts out in the Crossroads, which is perfect, at Crossroads Hotel, kind of winds through. I was so impressed I didn't feel like we covered all that much space in the Crossroads. Like, I felt like our journey was still relatively compact, but we saw so many things and some little nooks and crannies of the neighborhood that I had never been to. That's my favorite. Lisa, what do you like? What's your highlight?
Yeah, and I love that you're both sharing your highlights. And I think the alley that you're talking about, if it's what I'm thinking of, near, which was right after the Crossroads Hotel, was an alley that is behind Manny's, and there is some street art from the artist Fiber. Also, there is a piece that is a whale that is the cutest, most adorable whale by Scribe.
Yes.
I think that might be the alley that you're talking about. I agree that there are so many nooks and crannies that we get to see on this hike, and then also in the rest of my hikes as well. I think that one of my highlights actually was riding the streetcar and then really paying attention to the art that is part of Art in the Loop. Mm-hmm. Art in the Loop is this really cool art series that is on the streetcar stops and in a couple other places around the city that aren't specifically streetcar stops. But they have hired local artists to create this art. And I like, one piece of art that really sticks out to me is a piece of art at the Metro Center stop on the east side. And it's called Planeria Passages. Mm-hmm. And it really depicts planaria. So these worms were turned into art. And it was amazing to see it. And what a really cool connection was that at the Lady Volkus Art Gallery, we saw Jason Pollan's exhibit, and he contributed to the Planaria Passages.
You're right.
And so we could see his artwork, and even a piece that had the planaria as well. And then we saw it on the streetcar stop. Just making that connection and seeing reoccurring artists speckled throughout the city Similarly, we saw work of Glenisha Johnson as well when we were near the streetcar stop, just a tiny bit north of where the Rieger was. There is this amazing exhibit that's an outdoor exhibit, and we could see some of her work in addition to the work of other artists. So that reoccurrence of artists throughout the city is something that really makes me excited, and I love to point it out to those on my hike, because not everybody can make those connections or make them on until you're pointed out.
Right, or they just see it and they think, oh yeah, that's cool, like, and then they kind of walk by, because if you were just kind of strolling by Plenaria Passages, you might think like, oh yeah, that's got like a cool abstract vibe, it's colorful, but then if you stop and, take in the information that's there at the stop and you're like, this is about worms. Plenaria are worms. But it's so cool. So there's a scientific component. And Donna, this is a really cool opportunity because, correct me if I'm wrong, we may not normally get this kind of exposure to Art in the Loop early in the year, right? Traditionally, the timeline would have been passed, but with current circumstances, I think the installations have been extended this year.
That's correct. I think we felt at the Streetcar and at Art in the Loop that we needed more art in our lives, and we just kept the artwork up. It's usually removed by the end of the year. So we kept it up, and of course, before the end of the year, I was working with Lisa, so I'm like, I'm not going to remove this artwork, and we're already gearing up for our next Art in the Loop program, 2021. So we'll have new artwork up starting in late May. So very excited about that. But I think what Lisa said about the connections is so important, because the Streetcar is a connector, and this hike is full of so many connections between different art pieces and artists. And the Plenaria Passages is wonderful connection of science and art. And this is the first time that we partnered with the Stowers Institute, which is on our future Streetcar expansion line, where they got involved in our art. And so that's been really wonderful to see. And it reminds us how small and connected Kansas City really is. It's a small world, but a big city, and how everybody likes to work together. So it's a wonderful hike. I really hope that people check it out.
If you are missing traveling, which I am, I love Kansas City, but I love to see other places. Really, the solution is the Artful KC Streetcar Urban Hike, because you're visiting galleries, you get to take a peek inside some boutique hotels, including the newest addition to downtown Kansas City, which would be Hotel Kansas City, which is just a treasure. Site of the original Kansas City Club, so a really wonderful mix of art and history there, as well as in Crossroads Hotel and as well as in 21C, also a historic building. Lisa, to your point, all these buildings have great stories, but I just remember when I got done with the hike, like, I felt energized, not only from the physical activity, but just like my creativity was sparked. And I am such a proponent of exploring your own city and of being a traveler in your own city, because it is so hard to see everything and to know everything. And especially right now when our boundaries might be a little closer in and we're not going as far. I think these opportunities to get outside, get some fresh air, move around a little bit. I met some great people. On our hike, we had a really great group, small group, but it really hit that travel bug for me. So Lisa, thank you for giving me that experience, because it was so refreshing.
My pleasure. Thanks for bringing that up. I have gotten that feedback from my other hikes as well, that it really is like being a tourist in your own city. And time hikers tell me, wow, I didn't know about this bridge, or I didn't know about this hill, or this really cool artwork. So thanks for bringing that up. And I do feel like that's something that Urban Hikes offers, this new experience in our city that we've lived in for years.
And I don't want to like give everything away because I want people to go on the route and they're going to see so many things. But like even when we were headed across the Crossroads neighborhood from, let's see, we had left the galleries and we were headed over to Belger, and we kind of came up on that staircase, and there were those sculptures there, like kind of by Lydia's.
Yes.
Like, how many times have we all walked past that and just been like, oh, you know, what's that? But it's public art. It's so cool.
That's the cool thing that that we do point out, this public art that we just walk by normally.
Yeah, and don't pay attention or tune out. You know, it's like I went to California a couple years ago, and it was really my first time spending any length of time there. And I was in the Malibu area on the Pepperdine campus, and you know, it's so hilly, and then you'll get to the top and you just have that ocean view spread out. And I had like a California resident who was kind of taking me around, and I remember just like almost hyperventilating because the view was so gorgeous, and they were just like, yeah, I drive by this every day. Like, not that they didn't appreciate it, but after a while it just is like part of daily routine. So especially people who are spending time downtown, who may live there, work there, they probably have seen a lot of this art and appreciated it, but it's just kind of like more in the background, where on this urban hike the art really takes center stage. So you have an opportunity. And Lisa, to your point, I love that you do give people time at the galleries, at the hotels, so you're not just like quickly seeing all this amazing work and then having to continue on your way. You can spend time with it, you know, grab some photos, learn more about the artists. I think I even signed up for a couple of gallery mailing lists so I could get in the loop for like future events. So it's just such an immersive experience that I just, still talking about it. Loved it.
I agree. Lisa does a wonderful job. So fun fact, I learned about Urban Hikes Casey and met Lisa because of the Downtown Dish. I loved your interview with her. Just loved everything about it, and I was like, how do I work with her? And Lisa is like the best Kansas City tour guide, I swear. Mm-hmm. And she's so organized, and you're right, she doesn't rush you through anything. She has so much knowledge in her brain, like it's unbelievable. It's so worthwhile. Everybody on our hike just thought it was amazing. And it's no surprise that her hikes get sold out because it is such a great experience. And I cannot wait to go on more hikes and produce more hikes with her with the Streetcar expansion. We're going to keep going.
That is great. Thank you, Donna. And we have the Streetcar is involved in a lot of the hikes that we have, so we can just keep working on that and making it a highlight. But I love it. And let's keep it going.
Well, let's talk about the practical side, because I feel like people, if you got to be energized at this point, they got to be like, I got to get on this hike. How do I do it? For anybody who's concerned, it was pretty chilly when we did the hike. I want to say we had a fair amount of sunshine, but I want to say it was mid-30s. Yeah. And I feel like we all did a good job layering. I feel like I did a really good job of layering. Like, I got kind of hot when I was inside the places. But then when I stepped back outside, I was like, ah. But yeah, just, you know, layering, sensible shoes. You know, maybe bring like a vest or something that you could easily kind of take on and off. But, and Lisa, I want to point out too, just because I know this is top of mind for so many people, but I was so impressed, having been on the hike myself. Your safety practices are top notch. So, you know, there is a transition from outside to inside, but masks required. physical or social distancing enforced? Anything else to kind of add on that practical safety side?
I would say in general too, if I ever see anyone is struggling with a hike, which I don't think would really happen on this one because it isn't very long, but my other ones are longer. I do, we'll wait for that person. Like I'll check in with that person. It doesn't happen very often, but I try to be really aware just of everybody's on the hike, and so I think that definitely contributes to the safety as well.
Yes, yeah, I felt that because I walk slow. I take short strides, so I felt like I was in the back, but I feel like you would stop and kind of look like, oh yeah, she's coming, she's just taking a picture or talking or something. But and I know everybody in our group kept our masks on even when we were outside, so just really felt very comfortable there. And gosh, and Lisa, I think we mentioned this on an episode of The Dish around the holiday season, but let me bring this to everyone's attention too. Do you still have the option available where someone might purchase a gift certificate for a specific hike and then they could gift that maybe to somebody? Valentine's Day is coming up if that's your jam.
Yes, I do still have that option. If somebody goes to my website, which is urbanhikeskc.com, one of the first buttons they see is to buy a gift card in addition to view our hikes. But that is very accessible, and you can buy it in any increment. The hikes are $32. So if somebody wants to buy a gift card for one person or two people, then they would just buy it in increments of $32.
Perfect. Yeah, and what a great get. I mean, anytime for a coworker, a friend, a family member, someone who maybe is feeling like, oh, when you get out of the house a little bit, but want to be, conscious of safety and all that. I mean, what a great opportunity. And then, of course, you do have Lisa, are your other routes still running in the cold weather season?
Yes, I have a Plaza in Crestwood route where we talk about in addition to talking about the J.C. Nichols and his practices being racist practices, and so we talk about that actually in front of different places, like what was normally called the J.C. Nichols Fountain, what was formerly called the J.C. Nichols Fountain. I have that still going in the winter, and actually in March we're going to start up with our other hikes, and we have Strawberry Hill March 6th, and really I feel like March is going to be here, even though it's a month away, it's going to be here soon. And we are going to have our Crossroads and Westside hikes as well during March. But pretty much the Plaza and the Art Gallery hike are the ones that we have right now.
I love that. Oh, I got to join you on the Plaza, because what an important message to be talking about right now, to understand the history of Kansas City that at one time was celebrated, but now is, can really be viewed as problematic, to say the least. So, talking about learning more about your own city, kind of opening your eyes. And this, Donna, goes back to your point about Lisa being such a knowledgeable, lead guide on these hikes, is she's just ready with all sorts of information, and so you can just really kind of sit back and take it all in and learn new things about the city that you thought you knew everything about. Ladies, thank you. I'm so excited. Lisa, before we go, you shouted out that URL. Remind us too how people can connect with you on social media to see some pictures of your hikes.
Yes, I post a lot of pictures on my Instagram account. My handle is Urban Hiker KC. Urban Hiker KC for Instagram. And then my website is urbanhikeskc.com.
Awesome. Well, friends, I really hope, I cannot recommend enough. I have been on the hike, so this is coming firsthand. Definitely check this out. We are going to share some additional pictures too at Downtown Dish KC. We have a lot of fun pictures from that kickoff weekend to kind of give you a glimpse into what to expect. But Donna and Lisa, thank you. Thank you for putting your heads together, for making this cool thing. I can only guess that we're going to be seeing more creative collaborations from you both, and I cannot wait.
I can't wait either. This has been an awesome experience, and I did buy a gift card on the website. Super easy. Got one for Streetcar Tom, and it is a wonderful gift. It really, yeah, and because he loves exploring Kansas City, he's really good at it. Like, he should be one of the tour guides for sure. Him and his family, but yeah. It's such a wonderful thing to do in Kansas City, and encourage everybody to check out the website and the Instagram for Urban Hikes KC, and just have some fun. In our
Restaurant Week might be done for the year, but Hotel Kansas City is not done with the celebration. So the restaurant there inside Hotel Kansas City, the Town Company, they are extending their Restaurant Week menu through this weekend, Sunday, January 31st, and instead they're calling it now Restaurant Workers Relief Week. So not only will you get to enjoy that same delicious Restaurant Week tasting menu, but a portion of the proceeds of your ticket will then be donated directly to the Restaurant Workers Community Foundation, which helps restaurant workers who have been unemployed or furloughed as a result of COVID-19. And we did check with our friends at Hotel Kansas City. This Restaurant Workers Relief Week menu is available this weekend, both dine-in at the Town Company, and you can carry out as well. So whatever preference you're comfortable with, make a point this weekend, go get a meal at the Town Company, enjoy that incredible take on American cuisine, and while you're at it, support restaurant workers who need our help. All right, that brings us to the end of another Downtown Dish episode. How fun does the Artful KC Streetcar Urban Hike sound, right? It's like part urban hike, part kind of guided walking tour, gallery tour. I really did have the best time, and it's a great colder weather activity. Just bundle up a little bit, put on those layers, but it's a really great way to kind of get out of the house for a little bit, see some things that you probably haven't seen before in your own city, which boggles my mind every time. Speaking of, how about this random KC trivia for you? I'm still fascinated. Did you know that Lamar Hunt of the Chiefs, he was the original brains behind Worlds of Fun? I'm still, what? Of course, it's a great idea, but I had never known that connection. But hi to our friends at Worlds of Fun. They posted a really fun and informative blog this week talking about that connection and kind of how Worlds of Fun was built. It actually, to this day, continues to be one of the largest projects ever developed in Kansas City, which makes sense, right? It's so huge. So, gosh, every week I find more to love about Kansas City, and I hope you do too. Quick note to be sure that you're following us on social media at Downtown Dish KC, because we are going to be gearing up for the big game. Can you believe it? Our Chiefs made it 2 years in a row. We are already starting to see some really awesome food and drink specials popping up, both in the days leading up to the big game, and then of course as you plan your at-home watch party. So we are going to be consistently sharing recommendations and things that we see at Downtown Dish KC. If you see anything cool, Chiefs related, or just food and drink related, send it our way and we'll be happy to help spread the word. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you back here next week on the Downtown Dish.